Hey, just a little impromptu video here, something I kind of want to share with you guys. I think I've mentioned before that I have disabled the auxiliary battery and the auto start stop on the Jeep. And just, I think it was a few days ago, granted we've got quite a few miles on this thing already, I noticed that I was getting a message at startup. Auxiliary switches temporarily unavailable, battery charging. So as a result of that message, I drove up today to my local Napa and asked them to test the battery for me real quick because I don't have a tester. Sure enough, the battery, my main battery, is looking not so good. And so I went ahead and picked up an Odyssey. It's one of their AGM batteries. And Odyssey, I know, makes amazing batteries, really good batteries. Now, I've never tried one of their AGM batteries, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about AGM, and this is just the performance. So it's slightly less expensive than some of the really top-of-the-line AGM batteries. I think this was 300 something bucks or something like that, which is expensive for a car battery, right? But again, it's an AGM. So AGM batteries, absorbent glass mat, or absorbent glass material, glass mat. Absorbent glass mat, I think is what they're called. Yeah, AGM. Again, there are benefits to these versus a lead acid battery, but there's also one con. The only con I can think of is price. They're expensive. They're much more expensive than a regular lead acid battery. So why would I want this? Why would I want to put this in my Jeep? So there's a few benefits to an AGM battery. One of them is going to be just durability and vibration resistance. Much better, I think, than your typical lead acid battery, and we vibrate the crap out of this thing, as you can imagine, off-road. They typically have the longer lifespan than a normal lead acid battery, the flooded lead acid batteries, so that's a huge benefit. They recharge faster if they do go down. So if you're running something and you discharge the battery low and you recharge it, it actually recharges faster. But it's also a deep cycle battery too, an AGM. And what does that mean exactly? So let's say I run the battery for a while and it depletes and I have to recharge it. I can do that more times with an AGM battery than I can an old lead acid battery without paying the penalty of its ability to recover completely, right? And hold the charge. So that's a really cool deep cycle facet to an AGM battery. The other thing that you get from an AGM battery is typically they're better at handling hot temperatures as well. Now, I don't think I put a lead acid battery through any kind of a torture test. I mean, it does get hot under the hood of the 2-liter turbo, but I don't think we're pushing the temperatures so badly that a lead acid battery of today's making wouldn't be fine. But that is one of the benefits to AGM, is they can handle higher heats a little better than a lead acid battery. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go ahead and swap out the old one because it tested bad when I drove up to the parts store today, sure enough, and that may be why I'm getting that message on the dash. Now that message is interesting. Remember, I removed fuse 42. I've disconnected the auxiliary battery because I don't want to use the start-stop function anymore. And that message didn't show up right away. It's been that way for a little while, and I'm getting that message now. Now, I don't think it samples the auxiliary battery before determining whether or not it wants to disable those switches. I think that's because my big battery is going bad, but let's put the new one in and see if we get rid of those messages.
If you still have the stock battery wiring, you only need a 10mm socket on both the positive and negative battery terminals to remove the battery. However, I've added a few things over the years, and I have a few more connections and wires to clear out of the way before I can lift the battery out.
So on the positive lead, there is a funky little plastic clip back here, as you can see in the very back right here, that you have to kind of pull away to get this off. And as you can see, I took everything off of here because I've got some extra added things here that I just want out of the way. It's going to make it easier for me to lift the battery out of here, but you have to pry this away a little bit to get this off. And here's the funny thing, I don't really need that off right now. I can get it off when I'm out because I already disconnected this, so it's not really holding the battery in.
You'll also need to remove the anchoring foot on the fender side with a 10mm socket and extension.
So you can see the plastic clip piece on the back that I was talking about that kind of clips on the ledge of the battery here. It's not really necessary, but I'll leave it on and see if it'll work with the new AGM battery too. All right, so that little guy actually did snap right into this little seam back here. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on and use it, and then that tightened down really good on there. Now what I do typically is, just as a precaution, I actually take a little bit of emery cloth and I kind of clean out this hole in the clamp itself, just to make sure it's making good contact with the battery terminal. Now, if you look into the tray, you'll see that you have a actual foot that screws down over here on this side to hold the battery in place, but you'll see there's a foot over here that's stationary and one over here. So you really want to slide the battery in and back as far as it can go, and make sure that those feet end up underneath those before you actually fasten the foot on the other side. All right, as you can see, we've got the foot replaced now with the bolt in it. Battery is nice and solid in the Jeep. Now we'll go ahead and start reconnecting all of our terminals. I did go ahead and put the factory little blanket cover back on the battery here. I don't know why. There's no reason. I don't think it's necessary, but it keeps things looking relatively clean up here. Yeah, it's a battery. Don't overdo it. Now you'll notice I'm not actually using an electric driver. And the reason for that is, well, frankly, I don't trust myself not to over tighten something with one of those. And these are battery terminals, so I just don't want to overdo it on any of these things. Yeah. All right, and then I know this doesn't really fit that great anymore, but it's kind of better than nothing. All right, there we go. Now, let's see if we can start this and see if we still have that same message. Oh, nope, no more. Just the service tire pressure message, and change oil soon. So, yep, got to take care of that one bad TPMS sensor, change my oil, and I think we're ready to get back out on the road. All right, there you have it, guys. If you've done the same thing I have, which is disable the auto start stop feature and disconnect the auxiliary battery, don't fret. If you're getting that message that says the auxiliary switches are not currently available, battery charging, something like that, you probably have a dying master battery, which is what I had, and replacing the battery fixes the problem. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.